Cameroon's decentralization process was in the limelight early this week as the country joined the rest of the African continent to commemorate the 2026 edition of the African Day of Decentralization and Rural Development. Three main issues that defines the fundamental principles of decentralization and the raison d'etre of the day were given prominence during commemorative activities in Cameroon and beyond. The first is decentralization itself that demands the effective transfer of powers, resources and responsibility from the central administration to regions and councils to stimulate local development. Secondly, rural and local development with a sharp focus on improving infrastructure, services such as schools, water and healthcare centers, economic activities and governance in rural and semi-urban areas. And lastly, good governance and citizen participation that encourages transparency, accountability and citizen involvement in local decision-making as prescribed by the President of the Republic, Paul Biya. In Cameroon, where a considerable size of its population live in rural settlements and depend largely on agriculture and petty trading for survival, decentralization is seen as a key lever to bringing decision-making closer to local communities so that their priorities reflect local realities, which in most cases, if not all, evolves around the improvement of rural infrastructure and services, and support to local entrepreneurship and job creation, especially for young Cameroonians of both sexes, with funds placed at their disposal by the central administration. During the first ordinary session of the National Decentralization Board held last July 10 in Yaoundé to evaluate the implementation pace of decentralization in Cameroon, it was disclosed that in 2026, the regions received over 47 billion CFA francs in allocation, as well as tax transfer to the tune of over 117 billion CFA francs. The Minister of Finance is also currently working on an information system to enable the automatic transfer to FECOM, funds allocated to regions for their development projects. True enough, efforts made by the Cameroon government to fast-track the decentralization process are still seen to be insufficient, understandably so, because of the constantly growing population and exigencies of the changing times. However, the modernization of the management tools and budgetary control mechanism embarked upon by the Minister of Finance, plus a substantial and sustainable increase in the budget of the Common Decentralization Fund allocated to regions will definitely beef up the implementation rating of decentralization in Cameroon. President Paul Biya is very keen to seeing a smooth and very productive decentralization process with a positive impact on the lives and the livelihood of his compatriots, particularly the youth and the women, whom he holds in very high premium, and who constitute top priority in his current mandate of greatness and hope for Cameroon and the Cameroonian people.